The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn on the mic.
Welcome back to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, Facebook, YouTube, and we will be live up on Spotify. We are here for a special Friday edition with myself, Robyn, and comedian Hr2 Dunn.
Hello.
We are so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
He is going to be doing a show tomorrow night at 8 p.m. at the
Nashua
Center for Arts. So grab your tickets.
There's a few left.
It is going to be a great night. Who else is with you?
It's a secret.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a secret lineup of some comics that started in New England and then moved elsewhere and are back in town for the holidays.
Like
That's awesome.
mini comics come home.
That's kind of what I'm trying to build.
Yeah.
It's like a little comics come home for New Hampshire. So
I
that's
love
the
it.
plan.
I love it. So come on out and support Nashua, and come on and out and support our hometown comedians.
And you've been touring the last year with Dane Cook.
Yeah. We did probably about 50 shows together last year. It was crazy. Yeah, it just happened kind of out of nowhere. I was going from Colorado to San Diego, just doing headlining shows, and then stopped in LA for a few days. Did a show on a Tuesday night in a Japanese restaurant called Yamashiro. That's just it's like a castle that they built in like the 1918s or something that they brought over from Japan. And so it's like this really nice place in the middle of the Hollywood Hills. Gerard Butler was in the audience of the show, which was really fun. I was kind of more excited about that night because I was doing a joke where I did a Scottish accent, and I didn't know he was in the crowd until after, because he was wearing like kind of a fedora with feathers. You know how LA people are.
Yes,
like, it was all
and he
feathers
looked like all the other idiots in the crowd.
He just blended in with all the different fabric types that I've never heard of, and
feathers and
it's
ostriches
all feathers and poofs and fur and exotic animals.
Oh God, that sounds like my dream.
And as I'm like getting upstairs, I think that's the guy from 300. And he like turned his head. I was like, I think it is too. And then as the show ended, I was coming downstairs and I was talking to the guy that ran the show, this guy Jay Davis. And my back's to him, and I just hear, "Oh, Dunn. Now that's a strong Scottish name." And I wasn't even looking, so I was like, "Oh, is it, laddie?" And I turned around, and it's Gerard Butler staring at my face.
I love
and I was like, "Oh, geez, did you like the joke? I'm sorry if I offended you, whatever." He's like, "Oh, it's funny. I just did my ancestry test to find out if I was really Scottish. 100%." He was pretty wasted, but he was having fun. And then we took a picture together. He was like, "Give me your number so I can text you the picture." And then he texted me the next day some very nice things, and then he hasn't replied to a text since. But
Oh my God.
anytime I'm in LA, I'm like, "Jerry."
What's up? Let's go get some sushi.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that night it was.
I'm sure he loves being called Jerry.
Yeah, that's how he put himself in my phone.
Oh,
was
okay,
Jerry,
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, not as pretentious as I thought he would be.
Jerry.
That is funny.
Yeah, but so that night Dane was on that show. I found out by just getting tagged in a poster that I was going to be on the same show with Dane, and he found out I was from New England, which this is the funniest part of the story. So Dane was playing video games on Twitch, playing like Call of Duty and like streaming games on Twitch in his spare time. My dad is a computer guy, loves video games, and was a big comedy fan, was watching Dane Cook play for the last couple years or whatever, and my dad sees the poster and goes, "Oh, you're doing a show with my son. We're from New England. We're big fans." That makes Dane watch my show or my set for a couple minutes. Then he talks to me after, and he's like, "Oh, give me a call tomorrow. We'll talk some crap about the old Boston comedy scene." Talked to him the next day, and and he invited me to do a couple of shows with him outside of LA and then in Vegas, and then those went great. I had to like Uber to his Hollywood mansion, which was like a crazy experience.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He had like the Cribs drink fridge with like every drink you could have. It's like the full experience I wanted. And then we drove out to Yamava, which is like a casino halfway to Vegas, and then went out to Vegas, did the shows, and drove back. And for me, I was like, I know the shows will go well. I'm excited to do the sets, but I'm like, I need to not be weird in the car.
Right.
It's so easy to be weird in the car.
Yes.
So I was like, how do I just have
that alone time with
Yeah.
somebody you don't
Okay.
know, and
Totally.
you kind of look up, you're like,
Yeah, I'm like, how do I
it's
say I don't
awkward.
want to cross boundaries? I don't need to, I don't want to ask too many questions that he's been asked a million times in his life,
Yes.
No, please, Lord, don't
And
let
do
me
they
fart.
do comedians not like when you do their bits back to them?
It depends. Usually, you have to kind of get it in the right moment, but I can't just be like, you know what, another one of your jokes I like is,
Yeah.
and then just
Yeah.
do it to him. But
Yeah.
I don't think we would still be friends if that was
Yeah.
what I was doing. Luckily, Metallica had just come out with their new album, and he was listening to that, and I've been a Metallica fan my whole life just because my dad raised me on rock and roll. So
yeah.
we kind of had some time to relate on that and talk, and that kind of at least got a conversation started where it wasn't a weird, awkward thing that I was nervous about. So yeah, then those shows went great, and then he invited me on to do the rest of the tour with him, and it was me, him, and this other LA comedian, Paul Hughes, and we had a great time. And yeah, the shows were awesome. I learned a lot. It was like watching him do like a sound check in a theater is like a master class of how to handle that stuff. So doing this theater that we have across the street here is like, I was so much more comfortable last year doing it for the first time because I had kind of those spaces under my belt and bigger under my belt. We were doing some like 5,000 seat theaters, just really, we did Mohegan Sun for
But
like
what a
8,000.
great learning experience too. Just
Totally.
putting you in a different arena. And how do you organize your time? Like, because comedians, people don't actually think about, like, you are
You have
an
25 hours a
you
day
are
off.
your own business owner.
Yeah, totally.
But you're an entrepreneur, and you've
Yeah.
got to be the one that's pushing your, until you get into, until somebody wants to sign you, or
Right,
however that even works.
Even then,
But-
you still have to. They work for you still. Is kind of the mindset you have to have. So if an agent signs you, they work for you. If people have the opposite mindset, that's kind of how you have short-term careers.
So how do you stack your year, or like how do you even set around to organize? And like that had to have some flexibility to be like, hey, finish the tour with us. Did you
Yeah.
have to cancel and rearrange and change, or?
I had to rearrange a few dates, a couple things here and there, because a lot of my year gets booked out pretty early on. Like right now, I'm booked pretty much through like May of next year, and getting into June. So I had to move some stuff around, but I was willing to do that for the experience and the exposure. I mean, on top of being able to do the shows and the gratitude I have of just being able to hang out with a guy like him who's a legend in comedy, and I have so
Right.
much to learn from. But being able to get in front of comedy crowds in these places that I've never been to, or cities that I've never been to, or cities I
Right.
have been to, now I'm creating fans for me to go back and tour that want to come and see me because they found me out this way. And
Right.
this isn't me posting a clip on TikTok that 1% of the people even live in the region that I'm touring in, and 1% like that of that 1%, whatever. These are people that love stand-up comedy, that go to live shows, that get to see you live, and you get the seal of approval from somebody that they already love. So
Right.
the benefit of that on the back end of creating fans and kind of taking my career to the next level is a whole nother benefit. And with that, getting the tools that I need, learning from him and watching how he handles himself and deals with everything, to be able to handle that next level when it comes along.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So how do you book your year out? How do you start? How does, like, in comedy, like, I think it's so hard because I think comedians are an artist.
Yeah.
To be able to, and I also think it takes a lot of guts to be able to actually say it.
Yeah.
And, because there's some, to be offensive or to be picking on one party, but then be able to switch it and be able to weave it. And it's ideally it is, comedy's great because it gets us to laugh at ourselves. Like,
Totally.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
or
as
being
long
too
as we
tight, or being-
maintain that skill to laugh at ourselves, and I think we lost that for
Yeah,
a
we
while
did.
We did.
as a general country. Like the general social status was not to laugh at yourself, and I think when you don't laugh at yourself, you're fragile. That's why my parents always instilled in us, like, we should talk crap to each other, me and my brothers. We should be like, we used to do this thing growing up where we're doing roast battle before roast battle, where we would go to the Microsoft campus. This is like 5 little kids just out of Boston, just thrown into Seattle of all places, and we're scootering around the Microsoft campus doing scooter Olympics, where we all stunk, but my dad was just pick whoever would cry that day because he had to pick a winner. So
Right.
there's losers, be like, all right, you're crying today. And then at the end of that road, there was 2 sewer cabs, and we would roast each other. We would play a game called Don't Cry, where if you cry, you lost. And then you have to be able to take it from your brother and then dish it back and then move along. And the idea being, if like how am you can't hurt me now. My brother knows way more
Right.
dirt on me.
Right.
You know, you can't hurt me with your stupid,
Right.
uneducated, uninformed insult.
Right.
You know, you know?
You don't even know me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You don't even know what mom thinks
That's
of
the
me.
problem. We've gotten
Kid does.
We've gotten to the point, and I think it's staunch comedians for a long time. Like, you have no content because you got to tiptoe around everybody's feelings.
Yeah.
And now it was like right after COVID, you could start seeing the shift come back again, and it was like, yeah.
I think it depends on what game you want to play in comedy now. So
Yeah.
if you want to play by the rules and try and get on SNL and get on late night or be a writer for a show and have that perfect social media presence where you're basically on radio, you never swear, say anything bad, and
Right.
everybody can look up to you as an idol, and you can be that person, or you can be a comedian.
Right.
And say whatever you want and deal with the consequences
Right.
for good or bad. And I think option 2 is way more appealing to me. I know a lot of people that go option 1. I know a lot of people that start option 1 and go B, and vice versa. They try and
Yeah.
go B, and then they need the help from the industry to get their audience, you know? Yeah, so I think like saying whatever you want and pushing the boundaries, as far as comedy audiences go now, we're back.
Yeah.
Like people
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
care. The people, and part of it I think might be education. These people that are going to comedy shows now know what to expect. They know that this is not the safe space of your office building or your HR department. This is the place where we go to say the things you're not allowed
Right.
to say, with
Yeah.
hopefully some perspective in a funny way that makes you laugh and isn't just insulting. Which, again, that's the other part. A lot of people would hate music if they only listened to open mic music. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right,
So if you don't listen to
The best
or if
music.
or if you just don't listen to someone you like, if you don't like country and all you listen to is country music, then yeah, you're gonna think all music is not good.
Yeah.
And comedy's like that, but we don't put ourselves in genres, so you kind of have to just explore and decide what you like and whose perspective you share and that kind of stuff. So, as far as like putting my day together and my ideas together with stuff like that, I try not to think about that at all. I try not to think at all about what is allowed and what is not allowed. I try and think about what's funny. What did I just say to my friend that made him laugh? What did I just say to my wife that was funny? What's that thought I had of that person walking down the street that's funny? Those are the notes that I write down, and then I go on stage, and usually with a bulleted list of whatever that kind of nugget was, I'll expand on it, and then I'll riff on that idea and try and find the path through of whatever the funny version of that is.
So you're not writing them out. You've got your start.
It's a little bit of both. So I have like a OneNote app. So this goes
Yep.
like from my computer to my phone. If I see something, I'll like write down a little note kind of thing.
Because I think writing a joke is hard. Like actually writing down a joke to be funny, I think is hard. I've been trying to do one. I was trying to do one about Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
But I was trying to make it a menopause joke
Yeah.
because like a woman in menopause is never going to vote. You know, you don't become president until you're of a certain age
Right.
because we don't want a 22-year-old in the White House for a good
Right.
reason.
I couldn't agree more. You're making a lot of great points. Go on.
And so I wanted to do
Kamala.
Wait, Mr.
She
Trump,
didn't stand a chance, did she?
are you gonna pay her debt?
We're going to have to pay a debt because in this country we take care of Americans. We want to make sure she's taken care of, and she's so poor. It's so sad. She raised over $1 billion. Way to go. $1 billion. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, $1 billion. Way to go.
Where did it
Beyonce.
go?
Oprah.
Beyonce got $10 million. That's a lot of money.
I think Oprah got some too for hosting it at her venue.
I didn't
she?
pay anybody. They invited me.
That's right.
Bryson DeChambeau.
Good,
We're going to break 50. We're going to do it.
Good pick on you, VP.
Yeah, thank you so much.
A lot of people questioning that.
A lot of people question it, but it's a great choice. It's a great choice. Mike Pence is a loser, I'll tell you. He's a loser. I never liked him.
Yeah, that one kind of shocked us at the end right there.
Yeah.
Little turncoat.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I don't know. I think people are just, when people are in politics, they're playing a game that is this 3D chess that nobody wants to play.
Yes.
Like if you were walking by a bunch of board games and you
Yeah.
saw that game, you'd be like, that's stupid. The
Not
rules
fun.
are complicated.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody loses.
Yeah.
And it also seems like 4 people are just holding you all hostage and telling you what moves to do. But
Yes.
I don't know.
We never
yeah.
acknowledge who they are.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it might be Coca-Cola, but somebody
Yeah.
has you really gripped up.
Well, I loved Brian Regan's joke about it. Like, who wants to be president? You wake up every day, problems.
Yeah, problems. Brian Regan
big problems.
Brian Regan's probably the first guy that I was like, I love stand-up
him.
comedy.
Yeah.
That he made me
Yeah.
love comedy. That first special, Brian Regan live with the Hr2 and the oh my gosh.
How many times in your life do you say U2 and be like, oh, and think Brian Regan?
So many times. I like don't say it now at the wrong time because of that. Because
Yes.
I always think in my head, I'm like, is this the right time to say U2? No, I'm getting on a flight. No.
No,
You
I'm not
don't
saying
have a
it.
good flight too.
And from that one, I loved favorite when he's playing baseball.
Oh, the
and he's-
baseball one
and he
hit
goes,
so hard with me.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. And so my husband and I do it back and forth to each other that he's favorite because
Yeah.
grape. He's grape or
is
cherry.
favorite or cherry. Grape's good favorite, but cherry's second favorite too.
Too.
They don't have grapes. We do cherry.
So yeah. So but
the bits that he's only playing Little League baseball for the snow cone after the game. That's
Because
all he
it was
cares
so
about. He's like,
terrible.
I
yeah.
stung.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when I'd be at the plate, they'd go, easy out, easy out. Infielders are going through my pockets. Hey, that's my gum.
oh my god, you must have listened to that a few
A million times.
A million
Yeah,
times.
he's
We
one
listened
of
to
the
it a million
few guys
times,
I
too.
haven't met in this business that I was like is a hero of mine growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I've been lucky enough to kind of cross paths with a lot of people that I've watched growing up, guys like Dane and
Mm-hmm.
Bill Burr and Louie and those guys that I've been able to just do a show with or cross paths with. But he's one of those guys that I just have never crossed paths with yet that I'd love to meet one day.
Yeah.
So who's on your list? Like if you had to, your dream team.
Dream team of living comics.
Of like if I want to be on stage with this
Okay.
person.
I would
Who's
say
your top 5?
I would say Bill Burr is in that list for sure. I think if Dane Cook listens to this and he's not in that 5, I think he'd be very upset.
Yes, and he is in that 5.
And he's
Yes,
definitely
Curls,
in that.
And we want Dane
First
Cook
of all,
on our show.
Dane Cook's in my MySpace top 5. Okay.
All right, there you go.
I'm putting that out there now.
Okay,
There's
perfect.
your Dream 25.
That's out on the airwaves.
Hey, I
It's recorded for posterity.
got Joe Rogan on mine.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's still on there.
Yeah. Well, he shouted me out on his podcast like a couple months ago without mentioning my name. So he saw one of my bits and mentioned one of my jokes, and then he DM'd me on Instagram that was like, "Hey, we mentioned one of your jokes. Couldn't think of your name in the moment. Like, think you're really funny. Blah blah blah." And yeah, that was.
I love it.
Are you going to do
I love it.
his
Yeah, so
club in
I was
Austin?
trying to go down there before the baby came, but timing wise, it didn't work out. Where the booker was out of town for the comedy festival that was in Las Vegas. So hopefully, when I'll be going down there, I think in March of next year, I'll be able to get in front of everybody and have that under the belt, which would be nice.
And then you'll be on the Joe Rogan show. Once he sees you on a stage,
That's the
he's going to
goal.
bring you.
The goal is to hopefully get
Yes.
in there, have some fun, do some great shows, have some fun hangs in the green room, and show that I can have a good conversation and talk about aliens and conspiracies.
Yeah.
And
What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
favorite? I mean, I love all the alien stuff coming out now. I think that stuff's fascinating with the UAPs and all the government hearings and nobody. It's all hearsay,
Yeah.
but then there's still video, but then there's not video. I'm like, I don't know what's real.
Right.
Part of me thinks that it's like, if all the stuff is true and the government had UAPs that they were trying to back engineer in like the 40s and 50s, it probably got sold away to some company, like a private
Yeah.
company, so that all these new electorals didn't need to know about the UFOs. Why tell
Right.
all these people that are coming in, keep it private? And I think now that company's probably gone a little rogue and it's just making a bunch of stuff, and now the government's like, what is that? And it is still
it's
the
like
same
all the
program,
people,
but it's
all the people that they sold it, it's top secret. They're
Yeah.
all dead now. So you got all these young people coming in like, yeah, let's blow the lid off of
yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah, or they're like, yeah, get out of the desert, let's go underwater.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah. So that stuff's fun to think about,
hit
because for me,
space.
all that stuff is like, it just kind of adds more kind of fantasticalness to
Yeah.
the world. If all that is real, then who knows? Everything could
Right.
be real. You
Yeah.
know, everything and anything could exist if that
Do you
stuff's
still like to
real.
read?
Not as much.
Oh.
My wife's a big reader.
Area 51 by Annie Jacobson talks
Okay.
about is like, because if I liked X-Files,
Yeah.
growing up, X-Files was a show I really liked.
Okay.
And so this was, I just saw Area 51. I'm like, oh, I'm going to pick it up. She's an investigative journalist. She actually has a Joe Rogan podcast,
Okay,
but
she
she
does?
doesn't talk about the end of the book. She has like 3 out, I think.
Okay, cool.
But it's a very interesting book, but she says that there's no aliens and it was just, Russia trying to screw with us back
Interesting.
in whatever. So but she talks about phenomena and all these other things where the government was trying to use paranormal activity to spy on other people, and how there is paranormal activity and they just haven't figured it out yet. So I love the fact that there is still mystery, like science does not have it figured out, because they told us back in the day on the food pyramid that we were supposed to eat 12 servings of bread, you know, and that we were never supposed to have a milkshake, and now they're like, milkshakes, eat 10 milkshakes a day. You need fat and protein. Like you don't know what you're talking about. You scientists have no idea what you're talking about.
Totally. Yeah, and that's why it's fun. And the other one I like too, that I think might even tie together with the alien stuff, is that idea of, are you familiar with Graham Hancock at all? So he's another journalist that investigated a lost civilization between the last ice age and kind of modern day, like that group that would have built the pyramids and had all this advanced technologies that you see that aren't there anymore. He has a great series on Netflix now called Ancient Apocalypse. The second season just came out, so you should watch that if you want. It's really good. It kind of breaks it down. He's got a bunch of Rogan appearances as well, if you really get into it and want to kind of get into the weeds with it. But for me, that stuff is fun because, again, it just adds like, maybe there was this kind of thing that got wiped out by an asteroid, and now there's all this evidence coming forward that there was this big cataclysmic flood that all these different non-connected cultures have, and was it real? When did it happen? So just kind of thinking about that stuff is fun, and thinking outside of the conventional world of like, this is what it is. Like, but what if it was? What if it was like a wizard or something?
Right.
Who knows?
Yeah. And I do think you need to have that open to possibility, to have the comedian piece of it, because it's not that funny if we all think of it exactly the same way.
Totally. Yeah.
It's the part that we all see it this way, and then you turned it this way, and we're like, oh, of course.
Yeah, that, and I think for me, it's like none of my beliefs are written in stone for that reason. Like, if it's like you said, if it's funny this way, then then let's explore that angle, and maybe it is funny that way.
Yeah.
And does it really matter what I believe?
Right.
Who cares? Like, we're here to have fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we're here to have
I don't even know
fun.
what I believe. I won't think hard enough about it.
So
that's how I feel about politics in general. I'm like, politics is a TV show I don't watch, but I hear about it. Like, I know the characters, and I know what they're about. I see clips on TikTok, but I don't really watch the show. I'm a few seasons behind. You know?
Same reason I don't watch the news.
No spoilers. I don't want to know what happens with the hanging chads. I'm still trying to figure it out. So.
And so when we came on, when we were invited to do the radio, it was because the owner of the radio station was at the bank. I was at the bank. I do all my banking here, and he was complaining that it's all politics and there's two sides and everyone's arguing and no one's listening and it makes boring radio.
Totally.
He's like, I want a cooking show, and so the branch manager's like, well, she's in the process of writing a cookbook. You should have her on.
Yeah.
So then he brought me on, and then so I came on, and then he said, well, actually, you could probably talk about anything. So then that was how it came up, and we said we were not going to talk about politics, and then the election's here, and we're like, we know you're hearing it everywhere. You know, we don't want you to hear it here.
Yeah.
Because it's
inundated.
boring.
It's boring. It inundates your life. We started hearing about it 2.5 years ago, and now it's finally coming forward. It's like, we're all over it.
And everyone says the same thing. It's all the same regurgitated talking
and
points.
it's the same character. It's like reruns. You know, it's like we're all watching the same speeches over and over again. And this guy's bad, and we don't like this lady, and this lock her up. It's like, can we just build the wall and get over it already?
Yeah, can we just be done?
It's not even a debate anymore. It's not even a debate about it's just like they're slinging mud, and let me tell you how bad my opponent is, blah blah blah. I don't care about any of that stuff.
I
don't care about how people get so heated. Like, I literally listened, like, the day after the election, I opened my Facebook, and the first thing I see is this woman in this group that she woke up. She's devastated. She had to have her husband hold her in her arms before.
She was never roasted on a.
No, she never played Don't
cover.
Cry.
Right. Yeah.
She should play Don't Cry.
Yeah,
we should all play Don't Cry with her.
Everybody should play Don't Cry with that lady, because you'll win.
She said that
she will cry immediately.
Her husband had to console her because she was so scared for her daughter and herself. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He was already in.
He was already
right.
He was
that's already there.
But that's what it's people that kind of get caught in a narrative on both sides. I think where they get told that this person's evil, that person's evil. If this happens, that'll happen. If this person gets in, that'll happen. And like Bill Burr put it the best way. He was on Conan the night after Trump got elected the first time in 2020, and he was like, "Oh, what do you think of this stuff?" He goes, "I don't remember it word for word, but the idea of it was like, did Obama ever make your lunch for you?"
Right.
No. you're still going to wake up. You're still going to put your shoes on. You're still going to go to your job you hate, and you're still going to drive home. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. Everybody relax.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is for the most. Sure, you have some things here and there that do change under presidents, but for the most part, it's the incumbent parties that are in the Senate or the Congress that you're dealing with that stuff anyway. And most of those people are bought and paid for by Pepsi Cola or whoever else corporation wants to tell them what to do. So does it really matter?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody just relax.
Right.
Come to the comedy show tomorrow.
Right. Have a good time.
And laugh.
Enjoy your life. And be present when what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
But before we forget, who's your top 5?
Oh, top 5.
Because
So
we go down rabbit holes really quickly.
We'll come back.
So I'll have Brian Regan. There's no particular order. Brian Regan, Jim Gaffigan, Bill Burr, Dane Cook, and Louis C.K.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to think. I think I've seen all of those live.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Jim Gaffigan live. He's the only one I haven't
I
seen
saw him
live.
at the Wilbur a few years ago. He's great.
Okay.
He just had a new special come out on Hulu, I think, or it's
Okay.
coming out soon.
Okay, so how do you set your year up? How do you
Yeah.
decide where you're going? Like, do you tour every year?
Yeah, so a lot of it, up until this coming year, I brought on some agents to help me with booking and organizing and stuff, because before it was just me sending emails. And
Yeah.
I'd spent years building relationships with clubs around the country, from doing festivals and meeting people and going out there to open and then going out there to feature and then hopefully going out there to headline was kind of my business model of adding a couple new clubs every year. But I wasn't getting the best deals. I was getting kind of lowballed on a lot of stuff, and I was fine with it because the calendar was full and I was keeping things moving. Right. So a lot of it wasn't really planning like, oh, I'll go here, I'll go there. It was like, okay, they gave me this weekend, they gave me that weekend. Can I do something in between, or should I just go back to New York, or should I go up to New England for the weekend and see family? So a lot of it was just kind of chaos. If you look at my calendar, it would be like insane. I mean, and then when I'm back in New York, I'll do 3 or 4 shows at the Comedy Cellar or the Stand, and then it's just kind of this always motion. But I like that. I like that kind of every day's different. Everything's new. Everything's. I'm never in that routine. My morning hour and a half is the same, and my night hour and a half is the same. Everything else is kind of unpredictable. Yeah. So just kind of having that ability to roll with the punches day in and day out, it happens month over month where, okay, I fly back tomorrow. Now I got to go to Vegas on Monday. I'm in Vegas for a week, and then I got to right to Texas. Then after that, I'll be back for 3 days, and then so it's kind of planning all those things and adjusting and trying to keep that schedule as full as possible so that the money flows in, the fans flow in, and I have enough stuff to make clips.
At what point, for like a comedian, at what point are you doing it to put yourself out there, branding, getting the know, like, trust, and building rapport and I'm doing it, I'm volunteering my time, to actually becoming a paid comedian?
Yeah, so
so how does that offer happen?
It kind of happens naturally over time. So like when you first start, when I first started, it's just open mics, and then you meet comedians. A lot of comedians run their own show, so then you do their show and you meet more comedians, and then somebody mentions a showcase that's happening at the comedy club, and you hear it, and then you go into that showcase and you show up and do the thing and audition for the club, and then now you're hosting for the clubs. Now you're getting paid to do stuff. But for a while I was working the door at the comedy club, so I was working for Dick Doherty's, which is no longer there. Dick sadly passed away a few years ago, but he ran a bunch of comedy clubs, especially through like the 80s and 90s and stuff. And
the Last Resort, Dick's?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not the Last Resort.
Okay.
But he did a room at one of them as like a bit, which is funny. But no, it's Dick Doherty is his name. But he was like a rock star guy in the 80s. He was like open for Aerosmith and that kind of stuff. And then with the comedy, opened his these clubs. Either way, so I would work the door. I would go down there and set up chairs and take coupons and seat people and do 5 minutes on the stage and introduce the other working headliners and people that I all know now and consider peers, these people that I looked up to when I first started. And then you learn from them. You watch them there's 12 people in the attic in Worcester, and you watch a guy, you struggle to do 5 minutes. This guy just put on a show for an hour. You're like, how did he do that? And you start kind of studying and learning from people like that. And then, you do festivals, you submit your tape, you try and do well at festivals if they're competitions to get yourself some credits, that you have some leverage to reach out to college agents and stuff like that. So that's what I did. I won the Boston Comedy Festival in 2017. That's awesome. Won the Seattle International Comedy Competition in 2018. Got a college agent that same year, just started doing some local colleges around like New York, Pennsylvania, stuff like that. And then did the Just for Laughs New Faces. That used to be like the real graduate, like, now you're going to be a working comic, now you're in the industry.
Gotcha.
So this is a big festival that happens in Montreal. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But you go up there as a new face of comedy, and you do 5 minutes, and every agency's there and all these TV people and all that stuff. I did that in 2019, met everybody. Awesome. 2020 planning to move to New York. COVID happens.
Ugh.
Luckily didn't. Everybody that I met got furloughed or jobbed, or the company moved around. All those relationships are now irrelevant, other than like the managers that I had met. And waited it out in New England, started putting stuff out online, started like making animations, and then moved to New York in 2021 finally, when I like the city was just barely opening back up. You still had to wear like masks on the subway and check your vax card before you'd go into bars and stuff, like craziness. Yeah, and then was just grinding it up in the city, trying same thing, but on a different scale. Like, and in New England, like if you're funny and you do well on stage, opportunities will come your way. People hear about it, they want you on their show. In New York's such a social scene where everybody's running around doing spots. Nobody really cares. That you have to really kind of build relationships with people for them to kind of care to watch you or invest in you or invite you to do their show or whatever. So that was a bit of a learning curve for me as far as how to attack that scene. But again, just being funny and being a nice person at the end of the day is kind of all you have to be in comedy. Is just show up on time, do the job, and don't be a jerk, you know? So yeah, and then that's been it now, is just trying to plan out the year for next year. These agents are doing a good job of filling my calendar, which I'm grateful for, getting me in some cities that I haven't gotten to before, which is great because I have a lot of people reaching out to me now with the online stuff to do that. But to kind of answer your question, I guess there's two sides to comedy is the way I see it. The first half, you're trying to prove to yourself and your peers and everybody else that you're funny. And then the second half is you're trying to sell tickets. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Once you're funny enough to promote yourself, you're going to have to try and get people to come and see you.
Yes.
And a lot of the funniest people on the planet suck at this part. They really are not good at marketing themselves. And you see it all the time. You're like, oh, it's the funniest person you never heard of. That's like the last thing I want to be. You know, I want to be the funniest person you have heard of. So what can I do to do that? And the name of the game now is social media. If you can find a better way to reach strangers with your content other than putting out stuff on social media, I'd love to hear it, because it doesn't exist. That's why everybody's doing it, and that's why it's a nightmare and it's a grind, and we all have to caption our stupid videos and post them at this time and do the whole thing. But without that, then we're stuck.
You're playing to the algorithm.
Totally, but it's better than playing to the gatekeeper.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Because that was the only other option, was impress the one booker for just for laughs, and if he doesn't like you, then you don't get to play with the big boys. Now you have to stay down and figure it out. So, yeah, I think all this stuff is good. I think more opportunities for everybody, more views for everybody. Like, if you make something great, people should see it.
Yes.
But now it's on you to make something great again. And make something great again, and make something great again and again and again. But it's true, because it's such a fly-by-night.
But do you feel the pressure of that? Like, how do you deal with the pressure of that?
I feel the pressure of wanting to fill seats and sell tickets for sure. Like, I'm checking the seats over there constantly to make sure things are good and it's moving, and I feel good about that. But there's only so much you can do. A lot of that stuff is out of your control. A lot
like,
of my
I can get 50, 16 people probably, but I'm like, how many tickets are there?
Like,
do it.
A lot of my philosophy is, let's kind of set it and forget it with social media. If you go into, I need these numbers to hit, or this didn't get as many likes as that, or why aren't the comments, and sure, you can use those as like ways to educate yourself to optimize your stuff. But for me, I'm not posting these videos that I'm trying to optimize. I'm posting stand-up comedy. So if the joke just didn't hit, then maybe it wasn't the zeitgeist of the world wasn't right for that joke that day, or whatever, you know.
Will you try to recycle it later on to see if,
if it got like 10,000 views and now something's popping off, then here's that great joke I did. That now that there's more people looking this way.
It's recycling, but you're constantly building content, and so sometimes building the content is better than getting the like.
Absolutely.
At that moment.
Well, and that's what a lot of young comics struggle with right now, and I see it all the time. Is like, these comics that are a couple years in are so focused on making their clips and getting their views, because they see their peers, or this one lucky guy that in Austin, Texas, that got 12 million views, and now he's a touring comic, but you don't go to that show, and you don't see that guy that,
or they got their own YouTube channel, or Spotify picked them up.
Yeah, exactly. But all that stuff is like, you're not ready yet. It's like trying to serve a cake when it's still batter. It's like you have to make something worth watching before you try and get people to watch it.
Yes.
Being funny for 30 seconds on the internet is different than standing up in front of a group of strangers for an hour and making them laugh.
Totally.
The timing is completely different. how much material goes in there, the setting up of it, the spacing and the timing of setting it up.
Well, and there's a lot of people that are getting those opportunities that are comics, and even if they only had 5 minutes, that's what they started as a comic. But there's a lot of people doing that started just making pizza videos in their kitchen, and now they have an agent, and their agent wants them to do a comedy show, and they vote, and they're convincing them because the agent sees the dollar sign, and they know the show's going to stink, but it doesn't matter because they'll find the next TikTok guy next year.
Right.
Yeah.
So with all of that, you have to be really careful about yourself, because everybody, especially as things start moving, people are going to want to take advantage of you. People are going to want your views. They're going to want to get you out there and kind of try and take a piece of the pie. So you have to be really careful on who do you allow in that world? Who do you trust to grow everything with you instead of take from you? You know?
Yeah, that's a really good point too, because everyone with social media wants to ride the last 5 minutes of you know what's the most popular thing or the trending thing and all of that other stuff.
Yeah, and then you just look like everybody else. And
like you're going to be an instant success. You know, you're going to be like a Milli Vanilli or what's his name, Ice Baby.
Yeah, but then
you're going to do a one and done, and they get the TikTok and you get the contract. But like you just said, somebody else, you're going to find the next one hit wonder.
The agents are squeezing lemons. They're not betting on these big successes because there really aren't these big successes anymore. There are no more Kevin Harts that get to be in every movie and TV show. Everybody kind of reaches this bubble of social media, and very few people break into Hollywood anymore because Hollywood's not making anything. There's no breakout comedy movie that turns you into a star anymore.
Right.
You have to be Ant-Man.
But
that's it. I don't have abs. I'm not going to be Ant-Man. So what are we doing here? Unless they make a fat superhero, it's not going to happen.
I think they can.
That could be your anime.
Nacho Libre.
Yeah, he just always shows up late to the crime, out of breath.
With a pizza, with one slice of pizza because he stopped on the way.
On like a rental scooter.
Yes.
But what I do think about your comedy is is different.
Somebody borrowed my ride.
Yeah. Some people are doing the trending things, but your comedy is actually really intelligent and smart.
Thanks.
And I wondered how you are you coming up with that stuff? Because it doesn't seem like we can all do jokes about our childhood, right? Because we've been practicing those jokes as we tell people about our world.
Yeah.
We always tell them from these,
little tidbits.
Bumps. To try to, especially if you've had a traumatic childhood.
Yeah, you're like,
you make that really funny.
Yeah, a little tongue in cheek. Yeah.
I was joking that I know if you get me, if I tell you the horrible story and you don't hold my arm and go, oh, honey.
Totally.
And you're like, no, that was the joke.
Yeah. You're
that
like, oh, my mom too. Yeah. That's how we're friends. Yeah, totally.
I get you.
But you don't have that. You're like not mining. You're actually so much broader than that, which I find really impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to take what I see and what I'm experiencing in my life and try and put it through my filter and spit it back out the other side.
Good job.
Rather than like try and do what's right or what's optimal or, I need a joke about this or this people are talking about that, I need a joke about that. I'm like, if it doesn't mean anything to me, why am I talking about it? And I think because of that, it comes out as a more natural, it's easier for me to remember. It's easier for me to just talk about. I don't have to remember the words. I can just talk through it the way I'm talking to you now if I need to, Yeah, and it's just more fun. It's more fun to talk about stuff that you're excited about on stage rather than feeling like if I had to wake up and start my day by looking through TikTok trends or Twitter trends and figuring out what I'm going to say on that thing that day. And sure, a lot of comics do that. A lot of comics be like, Trump's trending. Here's a funny tweet about boom, there it is. Here's your joke.
That wouldn't make you want to do it any.
And for me, I'm sure I'm missing some opportunities because of that, because I don't feed the beast content every day. I'm not posting my opinion on every hot take. I have no interest in that. It's the last thing from my mind when I'm sitting with my wife or with my friends or with my family is to pull up my phone and start recording. It's just not the person I am. And some people are that. It's great. And sometimes I wish I had one of those friends next to me half the time when I say funny stuff. I'm like, that would have been cool.
Did you get that?
That would have been a funny moment. But I'm not the person to like take that out. So yeah, people that want to feed the beast and do that, that's great. They're having fun on social media, but that's not the avenue I want to go down. I think in stand-up, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
I think when people see my stuff, I want them to stop and watch it because they know the last one was funny.
Yes.
Where if every other thing I post is kind of half this, half that, has bad audio, has bad video, it's not going to be good. I want people to show up and be like, this is great, this is funny, and it looks good, sounds good, is good.
And people want real life. People want to talk about real life.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good to be break. People can make sarcastic, talk about politics. You talk about COVID and health and all that stuff. We're kind of all getting away from that. Like even just, there's funny stuff that happens all the time. Just families, even watching a baby.
Totally.
And so I like when my kids were little, I would say, like, I never changed when they like say it this way. I mean, they'll get it.
Yeah,
They'll get it
yeah,
eventually.
yeah.
Because I loved it. I loved when
Right.
they would say stales and
Yeah.
lollipapa, and I didn't
Yeah.
try to push them into, but I didn't try to correct them when we were telling stories. Like
Right.
a lot of times at the dinner table, and they're like 2 and 3, and they love the attention, and
Yeah.
so they're trying to. I said I love to listen to them talk because I love to hear the way their brain thinks.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And that's exactly what you're doing when you're listening to a toddler. And I'm like, I think that too. I'm like, man, if I die and somebody goes through my phone and goes through all my books, people are going to be like, what the hell was
Yeah,
that?
don't look through my notes.
And
They're
I'm like, yeah, that was a
incoherent.
funny. That was
Yeah,
funny.
Right.
You know,
right.
and I'm like, sometimes I look back at it and I'm like, oh, yeah. And Chris is like, you can't do that. You can't say that in public. You're going to go to hell.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, man, but I think that's funny.
But she
Yeah.
says it to me now, whispering.
Yeah.
So he's cleaning dishes in our house, and we're going back and forth, and he's like, "What are you two?" He only hears like two like words of it. He's like, "What are you two talking about?" I'm like, "You had to be there. Not part of the."
I don't even remember what it was.
It was about
funny
being me, you pretending to stab me in Boston. I mean, in Florida, in the elevator.
God, yes.
So we went on a pirate ship, and they give you these swords.
Yeah.
They give them to the children. We ended up with them.
Of course.
Right. So we're walking out of the pirate ship.
Dude, I
and
was
there's-
taking a sword out of a kid's hand if I had to. I was coming out with a sword, and I wasn't paying for it.
There was a gentleman. There's a gentleman walking on the street, and she's pretending to stab him. You know. And so he's like, "You're doing it all wrong. I saw that coming. You know, you got to come in real tight." Like, so he's giving her these tips, right? And so she's like, "Show me this, show me this." And he's like, "No," but he's like little by little giving her tips until we go to
Yeah.
the rooftop bar. And so then as we're leaving, we're like, thanks for showing us the 10 tips for how to stab someone properly. You know, we go in the elevator, and she's using, because now she's all amped up with her
Yeah,
brand new
right.
knowledge.
Of course.
I was
it's like leaving a
trying
kung
to
fu movie. You're gonna kick
Right.
something.
Well, I was trying to do kung fu, and he's like, "You don't do it like that. You don't be waving your swords around
Right.
like that. You got to go in tight."
Guy's like this guy's killed
he was,
people.
Dude, he
I'm
was
like,
giving
yeah.
real tips.
And I was like, "Teach me. Say it again. Tell me which one.
Yeah.
What kind of knife do I need?"
Then we get in the elevator, and we're there with 21-year-old. We're going up to the rooftop bar outfit people, and she's using she's amped up with her sword, so she's going to stab the number, but she's doing this weird mood, and so she touches me with the thing, and I go, "Oh, you stabbed me!" And so now
Like,
the
the
people in the
timing was quick.
elevator,
Everybody jumps, and now everybody's nervous.
Yeah, and you're standing with a sword, like what?
so when we do something
But
yesterday,
did you die?
yeah, did you die? Yesterday, I stab her, and she's like, "See how I took care of it, and I didn't make a big scene at the elevator." And I told her I was doing that for our audience. That wasn't even for
Right,
you.
right.
It was so that they could go home with a story
Exactly.
that they went up to the rooftop bar and a woman stabbed another
Yeah.
woman in
Yes.
the
I don't know
elevator.
how she had a sword, but she had a sword.
Right.
That's for their story. It's not even for you. It's for them.
It might have been a katana. I don't know. I'm
I
sure.
know. I'm unpacking my suitcase, and Chris is like, "What is this?"
But he's only hearing like little bits and pieces of the conversation about stabbing, and and he's
Yeah.
like, "What's happening?" He's washing dishes.
Not that we just covered up a murder in Clearwater. Don't worry about it.
You weren't there. Don't worry about it. You
worry
weren't
about
there.
it. Don't get yourself involved. You're my alibi.
I know he's helping me unpack, and I'm like, open my, or hey, you brought it to me because I had to put it in her carry-on bag.
Yeah.
I had to
So-
leave with the swords.
Yes, she had a bigger bag.
Carry on. They go good through carry on.
But she
You don't
gave
That's
it
get
to
good.
me, and I
Yeah.
pull it out of my bag, and he's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, we got that on the pirate ship." And he's like, "How old are you?" I'm like 12.
What's your favorite comedy club?
The Comedy Cellar in New York City is like just the next level. It's
Mm.
insane. I mean, they do 90 shows a week.
Wow.
Almost
Wow.
all of them are sold out. It's insane. So they have 4 showrooms. They're all right around the corner from each other in the East Village. And yeah, you'll just run around. You can do all those rooms in a night or 1 or 2, and it's all the biggest comics coming through. Like my first night there, Louis C.K. just came in with his dog and sat and chatted with us. Judd Apatow just came and sat
Wow.
and ate a salmon dinner next to me while I'm eating chicken wings. And like you just start talking to these people and crossing paths with just people that you've looked up to your whole life in comedy, and now you're on the same show as them. I got to follow Dave Chappelle
Yes.
there a couple months ago, and it's just like insane. It's insane to just have those people that felt so far away to
Yeah.
be like right there.
Do you
yeah,
ever
that
have
and
these moments like, "Wow, this is really happening"? Like,
Oh,
this
totally.
is-
I have that moment outside of that where I can't even believe stand-up comedy's real. Where I'll just be standing in the back of a showroom and I'm like, what are all you people doing here? Like,
Yeah.
how is this even a part of our culture? How are we
Yeah.
at a point where this many people are interested in showing up and watching funny person talk?
Yeah.
It's
well, it's because
interesting
we
to me.
all. My personal thing is like if we're not laughing, we're crying.
Yeah.
a little bit. There's so many. You could go on any, newspaper, the internet or whatever. There's so many wars. There's so many things.
Yeah.
So-and-so has cancer. This one, whatever.
Yeah,
There's
totally.
so much bad news that if you're not laughing, you're crying.
Yeah,
So you might
yeah.
as well laugh. And if you can't laugh, go find something
Totally.
to laugh
show
about.
and
Totally.
actually, like, even the dictionary has more negative words in it than positive words.
Yeah.
They put so much energy out there. But the one thing I want to say before we wrap it up, like, one of the reasons I admire comedians is because you decided to take a chance on yourself.
Yeah.
And even standing at the back of the room and like, what, all these people are just showing up to laugh. Like, no, you're giving a gift to somebody, but also you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And you took a chance. And I just think about everybody that's listening to us on the radio, driving home in the car, and, you hate your job, you hate your life and all this stuff. And like, dude, what it takes, it actually takes some huge guts.
Yeah. It takes a lot of time and a lot of sacrifice, and I was in a fortunate. You have to believe in yourself initially, or you'll never get off the couch for sure. You have to believe that it's possible that you can reach whatever that highest thing in your mind is. You have to truly believe that's possible. But I was also fortunate where I had people that supported me in doing it. I was at a time in my life where I had space in my schedule and in my life for something like that. I think a lot of people want to make that change in their life, and they feel so handcuffed to their routine or their day or their responsibilities that it's hard to kind of take that initial kickstart. But I think when you do, and you sacrifice your free time and that extra show on Netflix, and you put that time towards that passion that you have, you can bust out of this matrix that you're in. You can bust out of that routine and at least give yourself some time back to yourself, or at least some hope that you can pursue this thing that you love and it can turn into something. Because that's what drives me. That's what's always driven me. I'm not driven by.
Should be about
totally
doing stuff that you enjoy.
And they try and instill that, especially in my generation. I felt like it was really instilled. Like, you can be whatever you want. You're special. You can grow up to be whatever you want to be. Like, really dream big.
And then life
and then
smushes
all
you.
anybody wanted to be was like a professional sports star or a pop star, because that's all we saw in the media.
Right.
No one ever thought outside of that, really. Where now I think people are exposed to so much on social media that there's probably kids growing up that want to just go cook Korean street food or carve wood, or there's so many passion projects that people are putting out online that if baseline that's all you do is start whatever you love, just do it for an hour a day, 30 minutes a day, record it and put it online. You're doing something, and who knows, it might happen.
Commit an intention.
Yeah, if you really want to do it, then do it.
Put
Because
some intention behind it.
If not, it will never happen.
Yeah.
I'm a person that procrastinates. I put stuff on the back burner. I'm procrastinating right now on multiple long-term projects that I just don't want to put the time into. But when you finally put that time and you feel great and you feel energized to do it again, it's like going to the gym. It's like going to that gym for the first time. I never want to do it, but then once you're in the routine of going every day, you're like, how could I miss it?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Or when it's over, you're like, I'm so glad I did that.
When you
Totally,
start seeing
totally.
when you start seeing some wins, and it's a
Exactly.
belief of when you start seeing the wins. And,
Yes,
You know, but we've grown up into this, instant gratification.
Yeah.
Like, do it now.
Or that you have to hit a home run every single time.
Yeah, or
Just get on base.
exactly that, and because if you go on social media, you're only watching people hit home runs. They only post their home runs. You don't get to see them strike out 5 times leading up to that home run. So, I think share everything. Like, and for me, it's like I just accept. I had to accept a long time ago in comedy that this is going to be a marathon. Because initially, I got off to a hot start in this. I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to be doing this by that time. I'm going to be doing that by this time. And it's just not how the world works. It's not how the entertainment industry works. It's not how people work. You can't just make people like you when you want them to. So for me, it was like, I have to surrender that this is forever. I'm signing up for this, not to an ends, but because I love it and I want to do it for the rest of my life, and I want to get better and better and better at it. So as long as I'm running, then I'm on track. It doesn't matter how fast we're going. It's a marathon. I can walk for a little bit if I need to. I can speed up for a little bit if I need to. But we just got to keep moving. Got to keep moving.
As long as you're moving forward.
Yeah. And it's no end game. The end game is, there's no end game. It's today.
No,
It's what you're doing today.
It's a marathon every day. Every day is a marathon.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. And so, does your wife travel with you?
Yeah, a lot of times she would. Not as much now. Obviously, she'll be hanging out with the kid more until she's old enough to maybe do a trip or two with us. But she does YouTube for a living. She's another person who followed her passion. She was in between jobs, and I encouraged her to do the thing that she loved to do, and it took off for her. And now
What does she do on YouTube?
She does gaming stuff like cozy games, Animal Crossing, those kind of games, and she blew up over the pandemic. Has like 250,000 subscribers. Barely shows her face. Just does voiceover and research and does her thing. Yeah, it's great. So
that's awesome.
Plug her little channel.
Koramora is her
Koramora?
channel.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out.
Koramora.
Koramora, all one word. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's her world. So for me, it's like that's what she loved to do. She pursued it, and one thing popped at the right time, and now she gets to do that.
I think it didn't pop at the right time. Consistency.
Well, it was also
timing,
it's consistency, but it was also the pandemic, and
Yes.
that became the number
Yes.
3 most selling game of all time. And she was the kind of resource of like, here's how it works. So it is. It's
Yeah.
as much as it's like
Luck and
working and
timing.
trying. There is a ton of luck and even in stand up, there's a ton of luck. The
Yeah.
fact that I was lined up on that show with Dane that night is 100% luck. But I put myself in the position to be needing to be in that place that day.
Yeah.
So the more chances you give yourself, the more chances you have at luck.
I think as long as you're open to opportunity,
Yeah.
stay
I
curious.
think I just stated a gambler addict's mindset by accident. It's like, as long as the more you do it, the more lucky you get. I'm one away, man. Gate City Casino.
I'm going to roll the dice one more time.
They're my new sponsor.
No, they're not, please.
Well, I really wanted to thank you for coming. I've been following you for a while. Like I said, I can't remember the first place I saw you, but I've fallen in love with you. I think your comedy is great.
Thank you.
I think that it's really intelligent, and it's always something different. It's always just something a little different.
Yeah.
I love your take on things. You always make me laugh.
Thank
so
you
thank you
very
for
much.
coming on the show.
Of course.
You can find Drew Dunn at Drew Dunn Comedy on Instagram,
Yeah.
YouTube, same channel.
Yeah, YouTube, Facebook, all the stuff is all Drew Dunn Comedy. DrewDunnComedy.com for tickets, upcoming shows, all that stuff.
And
Got a
then
big
to
tour
get
coming.
the Nashua Center of Arts tickets, do they go to your website?
Yep, you can go to my website or just go to my Instagram. It'll be on my story for up until the show happens.
Okay,
so
and so
links
get
there.
them before they sell
I
out.
think I shared it too on our page.
Okay, cool.
If not, I'll be sure to do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again one more time.
Yeah, just some balcony tickets left. I'm excited. The show's bigger than it was last year, so we just hope to keep that going year over year. So it's going to be an awesome lineup. I'm excited.
You're welcome here every year.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say before we head out?
No, not at all. Thank you for having me on. This was great. It was
Yeah.
fun getting to know you and talking with you a bit, and I look forward to doing it again.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We'd love
Awesome.
to
Thank
have
you
you.
so much. So Drew Dunn Comedy, he is at the Nashua Center for Performing Arts tomorrow, Saturday, 29th.
The 30th. 8
30th.
o'clock show. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And he's got some surprises, some special guests.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
got like a Comics Come Home thing of local comedians. So please, we have the winter stroll, park away, wear your walking shoes.
Yeah,
Start
come
prepping.
down, have some dinner, catch a
Yeah.
great show.
They got ice sculptures
some
and stuff down
laughs.
here. It'll be fun. Yeah, come hang out.
Dress
And
warm.
we might be across the street.
Yeah.
We may be here too. We forget if we've committed. So thank you for tuning in to a Friday edition of Lisa and Robyn on the Mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can always watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, YouTube, Facebook, and we're up on Spotify. Until next Thursday, we will see you then. Have a great week.
WSMN 1590. WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Listen, watch, and stream at WSMN.live.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. It's not just Trump nominees who've been subjected to false threats this week. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more.
The top House Democrat now says several members of his caucus have been targeted with fake threats of pipe bombs placed in mailboxes and messages that have prompted significant law enforcement responses. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says the messages targeting his members have been signed MAGA.
A new wildfire burning in California. The Thanksgiving fire east of L.A., burning about 250 acres. There's an evacuation order in Riverside County around that fire. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum expressing confidence Thursday that a tariff war with the U.S. can be avoided. Her comments following a call with President-elect Trump. Consumers breaking records with over $6 billion in online Thanksgiving sales, up nearly 9% from 2023, thanks to deep discounts across categories like electronics and toys. Mobile shopping at an all-time high, driving $3.6 billion in sales. This is ABC News.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. For you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28, in-store only.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working non-stop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Progressive Insurance presents a Sports Flash on 1590 WSMN, Nashua's News and Talk. NBA, the Celtics are on the road tonight in Chicago to take on the Bulls, riding a 6-game win streak after they beat the LA Clippers on Monday. It's a 2-game trip with a stop in Cleveland Sunday to take on the Cavaliers, who are on top of the Eastern Conference standings. Bruins back on the ice tonight, hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins. This begins a 3-game homestand. Boston coming off a 6-3 win in New York against the Islanders on Wednesday. Brad Marchand and Pavel Zacha each scored 2 goals. NFL, the Patriots are home Sunday, hosting the Indianapolis Colts. New England coming off a loss in Miami to the Dolphins are 3-9, last in the NFL in passing yards, while the Colts are 5-7 and have dropped 4 of their last 5. College football, UNH beginning its run in the FCS tournament. Saturday in Durham, they'll host UT Martin. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, 1590 WSMN, Nashua's News and Talk.
It's the week of Thanksgiving, so you're a little busy. Here's something you can check off your list. Holiday shopping at Macy's. Because Black Friday is happening right now. You don't have to wait until Friday to get the season's best savings on the best gifts. You don't even have to wait until the end of this message. Head over to Macy's now and save big. If you go to Macy's.com, you can get your gifts shipped for free when you spend $25 or more. That's one less thing on your to-do list. Exclusions apply. See Macy's.com for details.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
The truck champ is looking to stay put at his current home. I'm Kyle Rickey. That story next on NASCAR Hot Pass.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Looking for the ultimate holiday gift for the race fan in your life? Look no further than the Racing Electronics Black Friday sale. Take 20% off your purchase during the biggest sale of the year. Get the best-selling RE3000 scanner to hear uncensored audio from your favorite driver and their team, or listen to the MRN radio broadcast. Hear team strategy, critical spotter information, dangerously close calls, and all the pit stop drama as it happens. This is a limited time offer that ends Sunday, December 1st. Shop now at racingelectronics.com.
ThorSport Racing's Ty Majeski won this year's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championship. His first in the series following a season that saw 14 top 10 finishes, including 3 wins. While several of his title contenders from this year are moving to the NASCAR Xfinity Series next season, Majeski says that he's happy in his current spot at ThorSport.
I'm not actively pursuing anything, that's for sure. So, like I said, just really love the opportunity going and having a chance to win races.
Majeski's offseason includes some more racing in just over a week, as he'll compete in the annual Snowball Derby Super Late Model race in Florida, a race that he has won 2 of the last 4 years, including a year ago. I'm Kyle Rickey. This is NASCAR Hot Pass on the Motor Racing Network.
NASCAR. It's more than just driving fast and turning left. Bob Bianchi and myself, Bob Bartis, are credential-carrying members of the NASCAR media. Each week, our live 2-hour broadcast breaks down everything happening in the world of NASCAR. We recap the prior week's race results, preview the upcoming races, and discuss the NASCAR news. If you like racing or fast cars, join us live in the showroom at Allen Mello Dodge every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. or listen, stream, and watch at WSMN.live.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
The Dana Show.
They don't want to have dudes in their daughters' locker rooms. They don't want to struggle to keep the roof over their head. Public sector is what angers me, because I, as a taxpayer, denied a seat at the table where everyone else gets to argue with the money I work my ass off to earn, and we're all at the table, but we're told to get up and leave it. You don't treat us like that. You don't take our money, tell us to shut up and get out of the room.
The Dana Show.
That does make me hopeful, actually, that this Swift effect will speak to more women about the true character of Donald Trump and will turn them away. But to your initial point, I know you said we weren't going to talk about it, but I was. It just seems to me that since she is in an interracial marriage, she should have known that to support a racist is problematic. Her children are biracial, and her family is one of the families that in the 70s could not have lived in any of Donald Trump's buildings. So it just seems to me that maybe she's just not that politically savvy, or maybe she's just not read in.
Granted,
but it's
all we know is that she liked a Trump post. We don't know. She hasn't stated that she supported him, but that's fair to interpret.
Oh my gosh, Nepo baby is all, well, granted, what a horrible, ignorant thing to say. That's Sonny Hostin, by the way, who was going off on Brittany Mahomes for liking a couple of posts from Donald Trump. Was it on Instagram? Who does that too, by the way? Who sits there and combs through someone's likes to try to cause controversy? You know, it's not an endorsement. People are so stupid. But for Sonny Hostin, what a bitch. What an ignorant, racist, bigoted person to say something like that. How dare you? To sit here and castigate her and then call into question her commitment to her marriage and her role as a mother, and to drag in her children because she liked some posts from someone you dislike politically. What is your mental damage, woman? You know, it's people like Sonny Hostin. Their ideology is a cancer on this earth. It is the AIDS of the earth. I am so tired of this. Who are you to sit here and go, well, you know, she's in an interracial marriage and she should have known better. What gatekeeper are you? That's a bitchy thing to say. And you know I'm right. That's horrible. I mean, can you imagine casting that kind of aspersion on someone's character because they liked a post from someone? Because she liked a post. So that gives you the right to call into her question her marriage, her job as a mother, everything else? What is wrong with you people? I'm so tired of this stuff. I get that people are so politically tribal that they feel like this sort of hatred is justified. And if that's what they have to tell themselves to help themselves sleep better at night, I don't know. It's a shame. That's a shame. I'm not wrong, Kane. Nope. Kane almost had a stroke. That's okay. But I'm not wrong. No. Welcome back to the program. Dana Lash here with you. Top of this third hour. That made me mad because the Mahomes seem like nice people. Yeah. And they don't seem like they try to be, I don't know what their politics are. Are you a nice person? Yes or no?
And the fact that we don't know what their politics are is a great indicator.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Are you a nice person? Are you decent? Are you a nice person? Why should that be, the answer to that be predicated upon, okay, well, wait a minute. But did you like Trump's post? Who uses that as a litmus test? And then you got Nepo baby sitting over there who's like, well, granted. Granted what? My gosh. This is why people who run media entities shouldn't automatically fast track their kids into positions where they share opinions, because not everybody is married. Not every situation merits the opinion of that person. My heavens. It's shame on these people. That really made me mad because everything I've ever seen of the Mahomes, he seems real nice. She seems real nice. Their kids seem happy. Taylor Swift goes to the shows and they hang out, but this is because they're mad that she's friends with Taylor Swift, and they feel like they have to police who Taylor Swift hangs out with. We talked about this because the left was saying, well, Taylor Swift needs to stop being friends with Brittany Mahomes because Brittany Mahomes likes some Trump posts. This is what, week 2 of this? Week 2 of these people losing their minds over this because Brittany Mahomes liked someone's post. You're going to be getting her husband saying some stuff. Good heavens. But they're policing Taylor Swift because Taylor Swift is influential, and they are so desperate to influence people that they feel like they don't want it to look normal if Taylor Swift, who endorses Kamala Harris, if she's friendly with someone who is a Republican or they think is, actually nobody even knows what Brittany Mahomes is. Everybody's just assuming, I've liked some tweets by politicians. I've liked some tweets by John Fetterman before. Doesn't mean I endorse or would ever vote for John Fetterman if I lived in Pennsylvania.
There are Democrats that have actually endorsed Trump. So it's not like, you know what I mean? Just because you like something or even say something positive about someone doesn't mean you have, you're endorsing them in any way.
Yeah. It's exactly it. It's not an endorsement. But they don't want it to look normal that Taylor Swift is friends with someone who might have diverse thought. That's what really this comes down to. They don't want that to look normal because they've got to keep everybody divided. They need Democrats to only hang with Democrats. They need their conservatives to stay with conservatives. Heaven forbid that there's any sort of interpolitical mingling. Can't have that. Good heavens. Can't do that. That's bad. It's that just made me really mad because I can't stand when I see nice people be treated like that. It brings out the Ozark in me a little bit, I'm wearing flip-flops right now. I may take one off. I'm in the studio. I'm in my TV mullet today. You guys don't see it. Actually, I'm wearing a hat, so it's it's casual Friday. But I get upset when I see people who seem real nice treated real poorly like that, especially by these self-appointed gatekeepers. Like, who made you who made this chick the gatekeeper of all of this? Who did that? Nobody. Good heavens. Someone said that watching greased pigs run around is more entertaining. I mean, I can't believe people watch this show. Who watches that show? Who watches The View? I say this as someone who's guest hosted it a couple times, but that was back when Barbara Walters was still alive and Jenny McCarthy was on, and she was one of the nicest people ever, by the way. She was so nice. And Whoopi Goldberg was not rude. She was nice as well. But I didn't meet what's her